Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. But I know there's a lot of morning people there. And one surprising fact that YouTube sent me my statistics, and on number 2 of my viewers, where my viewers are coming from, is the UK. So hi guys, and hey, leave me a comment. What did you think about that fake press release that's supposed to come from the Russians that King Charles has died? I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, that can't be true, right? But let's discuss this. But let's talk about the volcanic activity in Iceland on the Reykjavik Peninsula. So wow, guys, that eruption keeps us busy, right? It makes sure that we're never bored. So it is acting differently than the last 3 eruptions that we have seen in the same area, because those guys have died down quite fast. So they started with a bang, quite intense, but then they have died down. But this one, it keeps going. And if you've seen my last video, the scientists keep disagreeing. So yesterday we had one scientist say, well, the guys at the Icelandic Meteorological Office are getting it wrong. They're saying it is basically staying the same, but they're only looking at it visually and it looks the same, but it isn't. So, but of course, it has gotten less since it first erupted on Saturday at 8:23 p.m. Icelandic time. But it seems it has been quite stable in what it is doing over the last few days. So it seems right now it's not gradually getting lower. Of course, they're saying, well, it still keeps going like this, but it could stop suddenly. So we will look into this in this video. And then there's news about the people of Grindavik. Will they be able to get back into their town? Will they resume businesses, although this eruption is still going? So interesting video, guys. Let's start right now. So we will start with the Met Office. And the Met Office has released an update today. And they are saying, well, the eruption continues and it keeps going since it first erupted on March 16th at 8:23 p.m. And they're saying that the power of the eruption has been measured and that it is quite stable, has been quite stable over the last 2 days. And there is an indication, so they're talking about an indication. They can't say they have proof, but the indication, what they think is that the power of the eruption has not decreased. And also, and that is interesting, that's what I always want to know, the land rise underneath Svartsengi, where the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon are located, the land rise continues. So that means the magma chamber that is underneath that area is still being fed by a deeper magma reservoir. So magma is still filling up, so the land is not subsiding, because if the magma chamber wasn't fed by new magma and now this eruption is basically being fed by that magma chamber underneath Svartsengi, the land would start to subside as the chamber is emptying out, and then that eruption would also get less and less and less. But it seems right now, and that's so interesting, that a deeper magma reservoir is still feeding the magma chamber, and that has been going on since November 10th. We've seen an eruption and the land started still rising again, right? It was subsiding a little bit and then still rising. But it seems right now that what's coming out at the eruption is there's a steady flow from the magma chamber to the eruption. So from the magma reservoir in the magma chamber and from there right into the eruption. So there's no clog. It seems it's still being fed. So that's what I find interesting. How long can that be going on? And so the eruption has enough food, so to speak. It's still being fed, so there's still more coming to spit out. That's why the risk assessment map that they have released is remained unchanged. So no risk levels have been lowered so far, because that eruption still keeps going. It has lasted now over 2.5 days, and now it has become longer than the last 3 eruptions that have occurred in the same area in the Sutnuka crater series. We have seen one that was a little bit out of that area when it erupted right at the doorsteps in Grindavik in January, but they're all behaving the same. And it continues to erupt in the same places as yesterday afternoon. And that's the south of the fissure, in the southern areas of the fissure. And if I look at the live cam, there are some fountains coming out. And if I count them, it's between like 7 to 8 fountains that are still coming out. 1 or 2 of them are very close together, but you can still see that it's 2 different fountains. So I'm counting 8, but it's in the southern area, and the southern area is closer to Grindavik. But right now, it's not really the case that the lava is, as it did before, quite fast approaching towards the sea. It did slow down, and then they said, well, it's only moving with about 12 meters, but it's not moving much at all, because what is happening now is that it has formed crater around these eruption sites, and it looks like now the lava is rather flowing on top of each other and building up height than moving forward or spreading out much further. So that is good right now, so that it's not flowing into the sea at the moment and causing toxic chlorine gases by mixing with the seawater, and also not destroying the road that goes out there, like it goes out to the east of Grindavik, because Grindavik is compromised again. The lava did flow over Grindavik again in the Svartsengi area, as it did in the last eruption. So in and out through Grindavik is not possible at the moment. So for Grindavik, it's the road that it goes out to the west and the road that goes out to the east. And it wouldn't be good if the eastern road would be compromised by lava as well, because then there would only be one road, right? And that's not really good. So as of now, the tongue of the lava, the edge of the lava, is still about 300 meters away from the road. The road's name, it's hard to pronounce. Suðurstranda vegur, 300 meters. So that would take a while until it reaches that, if it continues to behave like it does now. There has not been much seismic activity along the fissure, along the magma tunnel, since the eruption began, so everything is remaining quiet there. So then the Met Office has released a new map that kind of shows you where the land rise is happening, and it also shows you where the lava did flow. So the darker red area, that's the current lava flow, and the other areas, the darker gray areas, are past lava flows. So the red area is the current lava flow, and the land rise that they have been measured shows the situation between March 17th and March 18th. So, and that is they made this map based on a satellite image by IceEye. So there you can see there is still the land rise, and it basically looks like it has been looking over the past few months. So we still saw that land rise in this area. And now it shows us how the lava is spreading, and you can see on the southern tip it hasn't reached that road there yet, and you can see on the northern tip that it's flowing into the Svartsengi area, that it did flow over the road. So that is a nice map that gives us kind of an indication. There were rumors, will the eruption move towards Eldverp? That's basically west of Grindavik. But, the scientists are saying, while we're seeing this eruption active, and while actually magma is flowing through the system and then coming out, there is not much reason for it to grind through other areas and to find its way to Eldverp if it has a clear flow path into that eruption. So there is not a chance, or a very, very low chance, that it would do something to Eldverp, because that was the theory when it was so quiet after that tiny intrusion event on March 2nd. Well, is it moving away from the Sudnuta crater series, and will it erupt in Eldverp? And then they were guessing, if it erupts in Eldverp, that they would see a longer lasting and a larger eruption. But it seems it hasn't moved to Eldverp. I mean, we have to see what the future brings, but right now it's pretty much seems to be happy where it is, and it keeps doing so, right? So what about the residents and the businesses of Grindavik? So the police chief of Sudorns has decided that they can come back to town and that they can be in town. But as always, he says it is not recommended that people stay in Grindavik overnight, but definitely they're not preventing people from doing so. The police chief is of the opinion that there is no threat right now that lava will flow into Grindavik because there is little to no movement in the lava flow, both into Svartsengi and towards the Sudorstrandavegur road, and that's why he thinks, and I think he's right with that. I don't see that there is a risk of lava flow into Grindavik. Can there be a surprise fitter opening? Well, I think yes, that chance is always there because it did last time. But since it's been going for a few days, I think we would have seen that by now. So it has a pretty steady, clear path to flow to the surface, and I think, yeah, I think he's right. So also it's the pollution, the gas pollution is closely monitored so that they can make sure that nothing is being blown into Grindavik. But there were some weather reports that the wind might change. The wind has been blowing quite out into the sea, so away from land, but it has flown a little bit western towards the Keflavik airport, but away from Grindavik. But they said it might change, that the wind might turn around. So that would mean it would blow towards Grindavik. So we don't know it's weather, right? So that is really hard to predict. So that changes hour by hour. So yeah, residents are back, businesses are back. Especially, I think, for the fish processing plants, it's important that they can conduct their business and that the fishermen can come in with their boats and do their business. So it seems that is happening. So that's a good thing, guys. So I will keep you updated as always about what's going on. And if you haven't seen my last videos about the Blue Lagoon evacuation, and of course, you know, my Blue Lagoon soap opera, and just watch these videos. And there's a lot of other stuff. And thank you so much for your support, guys, for your support on my Buy Me a Coffee website and for the supers you keep sending me here. I'm very grateful for that, and I hope to see you soon again, very, very soon, in my next update that's probably going to come out in a few hours. So thanks for that, and I'm out of here. I gotta do some farm stuff in the meantime, right? That work needs to be done as well. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.